airport information, Mike. Wind at 320 degrees at 6, temperature 53, altimeter
3000. Hello and welcome. Did you guys ever think how these heavy machines fly and what is the science behind it? Let's take some time and discuss how these interesting machines get up there. So today we are going to discuss about an interesting thing, that how do these heavy machines fly. For this you need to know what is lift, and to know what is lift you need to know what is pressure and how pressure relates to lift. Basically, pressure is a force acting on a particular area. Also, more the force acting on an area, more the pressure. Here you need to learn one relation, that is between pressure and velocity. Now this we will learn by a Venturi tube, and I bet everyone once in a lifetime has did this with the pipe. And how does it explain Venturi tube? Let's begin. So this is how a Venturi tube looks. The area of the tube is larger at the entry, that is number 1 in the diagram, and in the middle the area is smaller, called as throat, that is number 2 in the diagram, and again the tube is larger in area, that is number 3 in the diagram. So you need to know the fluid entering the section 1 has higher pressure because the area is larger here, and as soon as it reaches the throat section, that is section 2, the smaller one, the pressure drops because the area is less here, and velocity increases as same as while you restrict the pipe outlet from your finger. Basically you are decreasing the area, so the velocity is high. You might have seen if you have did it practically. And then again in the Venturi tube, if you see, the area increases and hence pressure increases and velocity drops there. So the conclusion of this discussion is whenever there is an increase in pressure, there is a drop in velocity. This is what we call pressure is inversely proportional to velocity. And this whole thing is called as Bernoulli's principle. This principle is very important not only in knowing how planes fly, but also in learning further concepts about aircraft. This is as simple as that. Pressure is inversely proportional to velocity. That is, if pressure increases, velocity decreases. So now let's get into the main topic, that how this relation between pressure and velocity helps in lifting the aircraft. So here we are taking a plate, and a high pressure is acting on the lower surface of the plate and low pressure on the upper surface of the plate. The high pressure on the bottom of the plate pushes the plate upwards and the plate is lifted, as easy as that. Now let's replace this plate with an aircraft wing. Same forces act on the wing as in the plate. So this is the side view of the aircraft wing which you're seeing on the screen, and this is called airfoil. Airfoil is nothing but a shape. It's just a shape, or you can say a contour, which gives the best aerodynamic characteristics. Before that, let me explain something. A sprinter, that is number 1 in the diagram, has 1 kilometer to run, and another sprinter, that is number 2 in the diagram, has to run 1.5 kilometer. But both have a time limit that they have to reach the finish line in a minute, that is 60 seconds. Now the sprinter number 1 will run at a lower velocity, that is at a slower rate, because he has less distance to travel. But the sprinter number 2 has to run faster, at a faster rate, at a greater velocity you can say, because he has to travel more distance. So the velocity of the sprinter 1 is less and the velocity of the sprinter 2 is more, as I have explained. Let's merge the path of these runners and it forms somewhat an airfoil shape. Now let's put this example into airfoil. Now replace the sprinter with the airflow. That becomes airflow 1 and airflow 2. Airflow 1 is at the lower velocity, and as we discussed, if velocity is lower, the pressure is high. So let's include that. And what's up with this airflow number 2? It is at higher velocity to cover more distance due to a curve. Hence pressure here is lower. Now you can see, as we studied this phenomenon in flat plate, due to the high pressure at the bottom, it tries to lift the plate. It's same with the airfoil, that is the wing of the aircraft. You can see this difference in pressure on the upper surface and lower surface. That is lower pressure on the upper surface and high pressure on the lower surface, which tries to lift the airfoil. This whole thing helps the aircraft wing to attain lift. Since the wing is attached to the aircraft, if wing has been lifted, the aircraft also lifts off the runway. So this is how an aircraft flies. So this is how an aircraft is lifted off from the runway. So here I end the video, that is how planes fly, part 1. And in the part 2, I will explain what all are the forces acting on an aircraft and keeps the aircraft in the air, and why the drag is an important factor to attain lift.